Greetings, my fellow electronic music heads. Michael Babbitt returning once again for another video tutorial. This time, I'm getting a lot of requests for dubstep. So today, I'm going to show you how to make a dubstep super YOIY bass sound. So let us begin by opening up Omnisphere, obviously. And then we're going to go up here and click on the Edit button. And layer A will be selected for us by default. We'll also have a synth waveform loaded by default, but we're going to swap this out with a saw square bright waveform. Now let's drop down to the symmetry slider here, and we'll turn it all the way up full. I'm going to square off the waveform a bit, and let's check it out, see what we've got so far. And then we're just going to roll right over here and grab a filter. We're going to engage the low pass basic, just do a basic 12 dB low pass filter, and that will turn it on by default. And here's where you're going to have to take notes, maybe pause the video. Getting into numbers now. We're going to move the cutoff knob up to about 152 kilohertz, and then we're going to bring the resonance up to 435. Now we're going to engage the solo button. We're going to make this a monophonic patch. And now we're going to head on down to the envelope section. We're going to start with the amp envelope, and we're just going to raise the release up to 38 milliseconds, I think should be good. And then we're going to turn the velocity knob all the way down so that when we hit our keyboard and play this patch, we don't have to worry about how hard we're going to hit it. It's going to sound loud. All right, let's click on the filter button now, and this is where you really need to pay attention to numbers again. Let's start with the attack. We're going to slide that up to 0.38, and then the decay, we're going to move to 1.34, and sustain is going to be 0.22, and finally the release envelope we're going to set at 1.0. Now let's leave our velocity knob up full blast because we want to be able to affect the filter depending on how hard we hit the keyboard. Now that our filters are engaged, let's hear what we've got so far. Continuing on, click on the Wave Shaper button, and let's power the Wave Shaper on. And you can see from this view you can do some editing here, but since version 1.5, there is a brand new Wave Shaper Zoom. Bada bing! And it's beautiful, isn't it? We're going to focus primarily on the reducer section here. Let's go ahead and bring the sample rate slider to the right. We're going to stop at 0.535 is the number we want. And then we're going to animate those bits by bringing that slider to 0.135. Now let's adjust the mix so that it's not so in your face. And we're going to bring that down to 0.600. Now let's check it out. Yes, getting dirty. Now let's zoom back out. All right, next step, let's click on the multi button, and we're going to engage unison by powering it on. And let's fatten this up a bit by adding a little more detuning. Let's slide the detuning slider over to 0.230, and we'll leave everything else alone. Next step, we're going to add a new layer. Click on layer B. We need some low end, so let's add another synth layer. Click that button, and then we're going to drop down here and grab a sine wave. Now let's adjust this for optimal low end punch. We're going to change the shape just slightly, move that shape slider over, and stop at about 0.455 should be good. And then we're going to move down to the envelope section, and the only thing we need to do with the amp envelope is raise the attack just slightly to 0.05, and that will reduce some clicking. Let's turn the velocity knob all the way down. We don't want how hard we hit the keyboard to affect the volume. Now in layer B, we're going to go ahead and leave the filter section off, and then make sure you turn on that layer so you can hear it. And finally, let's click on the modulation zoom icon and zoom into the modulation matrix. Now you'll see down here at the bottom, we've got layer B selected because that was the layer we were working on last. We want to make sure we select layer A, so click that. Now let's assign a source. The source we're going to use is our modulation wheel. So grab that and then move over here to the target. Click on the drop-down menu, select oscillator, and then move on down here and finally select the wave shaper sample rate. And that, my friends, is what we're going to modulate with the modulation wheel. That's a mouthful. Now let's move the depth slider down to 0.197. That should be good. And we're going to get really fiddly here, I know, but I want to grab the target parameter and move it down just a hair, just a tiny bit to 540. Now look up there at the target parameter slider. I want you to see there's a little white dot that moves as I move my modulation wheel. This shows that we're engaged and communicating with the mothership properly. And the final step to all this madness is click on the invert button. And what this is accomplishing is it's actually inverting the movement of the modulation wheel. Strange as it sounds, however, this is going to make the effect of the bit crusher rise instead of fall. I know. If you'd like it the other way, please feel free to take the invert button off, but this is the way I like it, so we're going to do it this way. Okay? I think it's time. Don't you think it's time? I think it's time. Let's hear what we have created. Tasty? I think yes. May the dubstep be with you. Thank you again for joining me for another video tutorial. I'm Michael Babbitt signing off. And if you don't have Spectrasonics Omnisphere, then check it out at spectrasonics.net. And hey, go make some music.